Hello, my friend. Wrestling with remorse is one of the most important battles a person has to get through in life. Most people do have some kind of remorse about something or another where they know that they went wrong, or they could have done better, or they have hurt people by choices they made or things they did, but they prefer to put that thought to bed and to cover it over with lots and lots of other thoughts, so that you don't have to think about your remorse too much. But you know, the most important part of remorse is the recognition that you are feeling it, and the decision to take it seriously instead of trying to forget about it or deny it or feel so obliterated by it that you feel it's too hot to handle and too big to tackle. Wrestling with remorse is a step forward towards understanding of what went wrong. It is therefore a vital thing to do. Wrestling with remorse, even though it's very hard to do, allows you to be aware that this feeling you feel, this remorse, which is painful, is a true indication of what you did that was wrong, or what was pushed at you and you didn't fight back about and went along with, and that was wrong. Something you were involved with that you regret, deeply regret, and that you wish you could undo. That is what makes it remorse rather than regret. Remorse is to wish that something hadn't happened and that you can find a way to improve the situation by perhaps making amends or repairs, or by changing yourself and making sure such things will never happen again. And of course, that is only possible if you are willing to wage this battle with your remorse and you're willing to face up to it instead of dismissing it as just an unnecessary feeling of guilt. Remorse will have a big impact on you as a person. It is very hard to have self-esteem if you suppress your remorse and you do not seek ways of understanding what happened or of making things somewhat better, or at least learn the lessons of what went wrong. If you are living with this kind of denial, with this conflict between your values about how a person should be and how you think you are, and the evidence of how you handled a particular situation, that shows that there is a huge gap or even a conflict between your values, your self-image, and what it looks like that you are if you really face up to the thing that you feel remorseful about. Now, of course, you don't just need courage to face it, and determination to work out what happened and to attribute maybe fault in some other way, or to find a way indeed to learn from it, to be accountable about what happened, and to develop yourself morally. That is the difference that will make the thing that you feel remorseful about a learning experience that will grow your moral backbone and your understanding about human existence, rather than keeping you in this uncomfortable zone of denial and cognitive dissonance. This artificial suppressing of the knowledge about what happened in certain situations. And of course, in order to face that and accept that, and to really allow yourself to think deeply about situations in your life that you feel remorseful about, in order to do that, you need to be able to be fair. There is no point in becoming excessively disapproving of yourself, or allowing your regret and your remorse to tear you apart and make living impossible. That is equally unhelpful as suppressing the knowledge is. So there needs to be acknowledgement of what has happened, and you need to find a way to spend enough time to go over it again and again, to work it out and really understand how it happened, why it happened, and how this does clash with your beliefs and your goals in life and your values. But it also needs acceptance. It needs you to both take responsibility without beating yourself up. So you do need some self-compassion in that process too. Better still, you need to find people who will hear you out about it, not reassuring you in a cheap, superficial way, but who will take your compunction and your regret and your remorse seriously, and who will help you think about how you can make repairs, how you can atone for what went wrong, how you can formulate an apology, for instance, or have a conversation with the people you feel you've fallen out with over this problem. And it may very well be that their part in that situation also needs to be acknowledged, that it is together that you created this regrettable situation, not just you on your own. To come to a fair-minded appraisal of what has happened is a very important part of atonement, because you can only be at one with yourself again and feel that things are resolved if truth has been established. And it's not truth if you just fall on your sword and take full responsibility for everything that went wrong, when in fact often situations are much more complex than that, my friend, and you need to be able to release yourself as well from overly worrying about your responsibility. That's just as important as taking responsibility. It's got to be measured. It's got to be appropriate to the truth of what actually occurred. If you're going to grow from this experience, then facing it, thinking it through, talking about it, finding a way to repair and atone are essential. That's the only way to dissolve remorse. It's the only way for you to re-establish what your compromised values were and what your true values behind that are. and to make decisions about how you are going to live forward from those mistakes you've made, and how you're going to undo the harm as much as you can. This takes you way beyond the feeling of wanting to undo what's happened, and it gets you back to reality and to something you can build forward from. So if you live in chronic self-loathing and in self-reproach and regret, and you're full of remorse all the time, this can be very paralyzing. You end up generalizing this and thinking of yourself as a bad person, and that can be very counterproductive and drag you down into a sort of depressed state, into a paralysis, because you don't trust yourself anymore. So you might need some help. You might need some help to find some self-compassion, to find the courage to face up to what happened, to make distinctions between what you believe and what you did, and to make distinctions between what you did then and what you would do now, and how you aim to move forward. It's very important to do these things and to find some acts of kindness and helpfulness that will allow others to forgive you, that will allow others to accept that your remorse is genuine, and that you can together build a new future together, in which all of the people who were involved in this regrettable situation will let go of the destructive elements that have thus far dominated the situation, and find places of peace, truth, and decency, where things can be set straight and where everybody gains by finding the road towards some kind of reconciliation, if not with the other, then at least with yourself. This is a very big challenge in life, my friend, but it is one that you are ready for if you have been coming to a video that spoke about challenging yourself to wrestle with your remorse. If you are strong enough and determined enough to wrestle with your remorse with an open mind and be accountable, life will become possible again. And that is always the objective. Stay on the side of life, my friend, and don't destroy yourself.